Why, hello there. Jacob here. And we are finally at that time of the year. Border Battle Round 1. Hated rivals facing off against each other for the first time. Vikings Packers at Lambeau Field on Sunday, October 29th at noon. So let's go ahead and get into it. So yeah, as I mentioned, this is Packers Week, Round 1 in Lambeau Field this year. So if you're a Vikings fan, well, granted, it sounds like this weekend, though, could might actually start turning into the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field because, well, I don't know exactly what the temps in Green Bay are supposed to be like, but if they're anything like they're going to be around here, it's basically going to feel more like week 15, 14, 16 than week, well, 8. So, it... But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's always, though, nice to get, Lambeau Field out of the way before it becomes the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, just because, well, if you know anything about the upper Midwest, come December, January, February, it basically turns into Antarctica for about 2 to 3 weeks straight there, where we're lucky if highs are above 0 and stuff like that, but, yeah, well, with the exception of this weekend, why does the upper Midwest weather go from, like, let's say September, October to January when it's going into November? But anyway, enough about the weather, even though, that will probably play a factor into this game here. Let's actually get into this game here. So yeah, like I say, the Vikings will be taking on the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. And for the first time in probably about 10 years, actually, they will not be taking on either Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is only like the second or third time in over 30 years they haven't taken on either Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. And, yeah, I mean, the Vikings are, coming off of that big win against the 49ers on Monday night, and Green Bay's coming off the bye week. So, 2-4 versus 3-4. And like I say, the Packers haven't had the greatest start either. I mean, so the Packers are going to be hungry to try to keep their season afloat and stuff like that too. And like I say, going into this year, I had a feeling this would probably happen with Green Bay just because, again, literally most of the entire offense is either first or like second-year players. And like I say, yeah, sure, Jordan Love has learned behind Aaron Rodgers, but it's another thing when you're the backup to Aaron Rodgers and when you are the quarterback. Now, again, I'm not ready to write him off as a bust yet, but, basically the media loves to just absolutely paint narratives after like 3 weeks of a guy's season and stuff like that. And anyway, regardless, like I say, I've made plenty of videos about how I hate media bias and all that stuff, but that's never going to change. It just won't. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. People are people, things are things, and it just, yeah, that's the way it is. But, so yeah, like I say, the Vikings, coming off of that big win, will be going into Lambeau, and honestly, I really don't know what to expect because the Vikings are literally a week-by-week freaking team. Like, 1 week, they look slow, they look lethargic, they look off, and then the next week they're going toe-to-toe with the 49ers and actually basically led throughout the entire game, which is even more frustrating because, well, there's about 3 plays in about 2 games that could have completely changed the season, i.e., the missed touchdown in the end zone against the Chargers. Kansas City, we were driving and then messed that up. And, obviously Baker Mayfield coming in here and stuff like that. We just, honestly, those first 3 weeks, the turnovers really killed us, but yet we were still there at the end. Because, heaven forbid, the Vikings lose by more than 4 or 5 points. Or win by more than 4 or 5 points. Yeah, usually if it's anything above about 4.5 points, bet the under. if the Vikings win. But anyway, regardless, yeah, this season has been just an absolute conundrum. After starting, well, basically 1-3, for lack of a better term, we're now 2-4. And, yeah, I mean, it's about all you really can ask for at this point. You're still right there, 3-4 after a big win. Just hope you don't get, basically, hopefully you don't go on a down note here, because, again, it's Green Bay. They're having their struggles, too, and a win like this could potentially catapult them back into the thick of things, too, and it's not like the NFC's necessarily been a juggernaut this year. I mean, case in point, the 49ers are hitting a roadblock. The Eagles still look like the best team in the NFC, but they're beatable, and stuff like that. So there's still plenty of chances for these teams to sneak in and stuff like that. And also, too, with the Lions and stuff like that, who knows what to expect, because they got absolutely shellacked in Baltimore. But to be fair, though, that's also literally Baltimore. So it's not like Baltimore's a bad team by any stretch of the imagination either. And they have a history of beating NFC opponents. So, yeah, I mean, this NFC North race is going to be interesting. So, just kind of a little ramble and preamble about the state of the NFL and NFC and stuff like that. But now just to a couple quick keys of the game here. Build off of the momentum of last week, and for the love of everything holy, hang on to the football, please. Just hang on to the damn thing. Because it's like, and the thing is, too, with these turnovers and stuff like that, it's just absolute dumb, you-know-what, fumbles and turnovers. It's like, most of the time, it's not even necessarily a fault thing. It just pretty much either bounces off the receiver's hands or just some dumb look, hey, would you look what I found type of thing. But anyway, as a Vikings fan, I've seen more than my fair share of that stuff. So hang on to the football, establish a run game. Granted, we don't have the greatest run game in the world, but it has actually improved over the last, I'd say, 3 weeks or so. Even though, fellas, if we can this week, let's try to get that rushing touchdown. Because to this point, the Vikings are the only team without a rushing touchdown. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Not one touchdown on the ground. Which is kind of interesting considering what our pedigree was before. So, either Akers, Madison, or whoever, Maybe we get some Ty Chandler in there. Maybe Wongwu gets in there. Maybe Kirk Cousins just says screw it and takes it for a quarterback sneak. Just please, no more tush push. We don't have the offensive line for that, really, and, the push. But, yeah. And also the key for defense is trying to neutralize Green Bay's offense. Because, like I say, they're relatively young, but they could still get things done. I mean, Christian Watson's starting to turn up. Romeo Doubs is a guy that you have to keep an eye on. I mean, they still have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon who can get the ball going. Even though they are hurt pretty badly on the offensive line, it feels like most of the stalwarts of the past have been injured a lot. So, who knows? And like I say, the Packers' defense is, again, a big mystery, really, because it's like 1 week they look like the 85 Bears, and the next week, hell, I could run for 200 yards against them or catch for 150 yards against them. It's like, which defense is going to show up? Which is crazy to think considering how many times in the first round over the last, I'd say, 7 or 8 years, they drafted either defensive line or linebacker in the first round instead of, receiver help for Aaron Rodgers. But again, yeah. That in and of itself could be a video, and I think a lot of Packers fans would agree with me there that has really been annoying. But to be fair, though, it's a changing of the guard in the NFC North here. The Lions are for real. The Vikings are stepping up. The Packers are in a transition period, and the Bears are the Bears. Which I think, ironically enough, I think Tyson Bagent might actually be the savior at this point. But anyway. Who knows? Sometimes it just takes, something different to happen in order for your butt to get kicked into gear here. So, but yeah, like I say, Vikings, if we can go into Lambeau Field, take care of business, and move to 4-4, considering how the season started and, all the issues that have happened in the first few weeks, I'm not going to say anything, but again, 1 week at a time. Let's get it done, fellas. So until we meet again, this is Jacob, Skull Vikings.